Remember that my favorite band is the Foo Fighters?
Okay, I'll remember that you said, remember that my favorite band is the Foo Fighters.
That new feature, 20 new device types, the Works with Nest program updates, as well as maybe the ability to control your entire smart home without the internet. All that and more in our newest Google Nest Updates video. Hello Automators, thanks for tuning in again. With Google I/O over, we can turn our attention to some of these new features and capabilities that were announced at Google I/O and starting to roll out. And I'm going to give you a bunch of demos, and there are 3 or 4 things that I think you're going to want to stick around for here. So a quick recap of things that we know from the last week. The Nest Hub Max is coming out, 10-inch smart display that is on pre-order in the US right now. You can also see that the Google Home Hub here is now the Google Nest Hub, and in many other countries. The Pixel 3a and XL were released and are on sale already. You can go ahead and get one of those devices. The Works with Nest program initially seemed to be ending, but now Google is pulling back on some of those statements, even suggesting that any of your current automation will survive as long as you don't want to change that. However, in the future, if you do want to change it, you're going to need to move to the Works with Google Assistant program and therefore use that automation. Now, that situation is clearly not done with, and we'll continue to give you updates as we can. What we also didn't know is that Amazon's voice assistant will continue to work with your Nest products. So this is a big advantage that Google has gone out and given Amazon for, I'm sure, a number of reasons, but it will mean expectedly uninterrupted control of your Nest products with Amazon's voice assistant. Now stay tuned to that situation, because I think there's a little back and forth yet here to come. Some of the ways you control those devices still could change, but for now it looks like Google and Amazon are working together. Another thing we didn't know is whether or not the Nest app was going to survive, and it looks like it's making it through this first round of integration, but I would look for, as we go forward here, Nest to get more and more integrated with your Google Home app, or what I expect to be eventually called the Google Nest app. Now, moving on to a couple of changes that we're actually starting to see with the devices. You'll notice as I swipe down here with my Google Nest Hub that there is actually a routines button, and when you tap on that routines button, you're going to get a list of your routines that you can go ahead and execute. So this is going to help you immediately execute those routines without remembering the name of every automation that you've created. A quick little aside here, Xiaomi cameras appear to be working in some cases with the Google Home Hub and your Chromecast devices, so you can get those displayed on there. Now, this is not in every case, and I can't give you an official list because unfortunately, Google's not keeping their support page up to date with these new compatibilities. But if you hit the add button on your application and go ahead, link those 2 accounts for your Xiaomi cameras, you should be able to get them playing here. Go ahead and try that today. One extremely important announcement that came during I/O and wasn't something that was part of the keynote speech was actually 20 new device types. And I'm going to read the list here because it's just too much. The air freshener, the fireplace, heater, blinds, awnings, shutters, windows, water heaters, microwaves, garages, valves, security systems, gates, locks, doors, boilers, showers, and a hood. Now, those all come with new commands as well. So you have open, close, start, stop with zones. So if you think about a security system, you could have zones there, or you could also have that with valves and valve manifolds, things like that. Locks and unlocks, arm and disarm capability, and timers, which you can think about with a device like a microwave. So let's talk about the new personal references capability. Now, you saw me use that at the start of the video here by asking Google to remember who my favorite band was. I can ask now follow-up questions, and you're going to see this deepen this functionality over time. When's my favorite sports team playing?
I couldn't find any upcoming games for the Oilers in the NHL.
So now you saw there I asked about my favorite sports team. It's a little easier to get some deeper information about that, but you will see this functionality continue to expand over time, and you'll also find in the Google Home application here a couple of new components. So within the Your People section, and you can continue to ask it to remember different things here, but you can see that my people have things like birthdays and things that I've asked the Google Home to remember. And what's very interesting about this capability is I can ask my device to remind me for something related to this. So remind me a week before my wife's birthday to get her a present.
Okay, get her a present. This will be at what time?
5 p.m. Now, something else that we can talk about here is within, again, the settings, and it's Your Places. And this has started to expand, so I'll show you that again, but this section has started to expand where you can start to put in more than just your home and work location. And it actually imported from Google Maps for me because I had that and the Google Assistant on my phone, and it just started to import some of the places that I frequent. Now, this is going to help with navigation in the future and the driving mode in the future, but it's also going to help you find out how long it takes. Now, right now, the capability only seems to be between home and work, but we should expect this to expand very quickly, and you can add new places today. Coupled with all of this is the new Face Match capability coming for the Nest Hub Max, and I think this will deepen that personal references section as well. But another thing that's going to deepen this even further are personal reminders. And so you can create reminders for different personalities or people who have an account on your device and create that reminder specifically for that person. So let's call it the nagging spouse reminder, and you can go ahead and create a reminder for your spouse or anyone else who's using the device in your home. And don't forget, there's Picks for You coming as well. If it's not already there for you, you will get more personalized recommendations based on what you've done in the past. And we saw the recipes thing really show up at Google I/O, but this will deepen over time as you request more results with the device, and it knows who it's talking to through Voice Match or Face Match. Show me recipes for spaghetti.
Okay, here are some recipes.
Now you can see Picks for You wasn't working for me right there. It didn't give me any personalized results, but you will see those start to show up on your smart display, and I believe that will show up just on voice search in general as we go here. You'll get the more relevant results to you. This past Tuesday, if you went to the Warriors versus Blazers, the first game of the NBA Conference Finals between those two, you got a Google Home Mini, and what's wild about this is that was literally 19,000 some odd fans that got it all on that day. And they were entered, if they went home and they activated that device, they were entered to win tickets to another NBA playoffs game. So now that whole control your smart home without the internet thing, this is one of the most requested features, or at least something that the Z-Wave and the Zigbee fanboys like to lord over people who use Wi-Fi devices. They like to say, well, when the internet goes, you're dead in the water. And that is true in a lot of ways. There's nothing, I'm not saying that's not true, but what Google is doing, and we've seen Amazon do some of this already, what Google has done is they've made a local SDK available for developers. And what this will mean is you will need Wi-Fi still in your home or Bluetooth connection capability to a device. With that capability will come the ability to, without internet, Google Home to still control those devices. So you would need Wi-Fi, but without the internet connection, Google will still do that control, log the information, and then send it actually to the servers once that internet connection comes back. Now, kudos to Tion for sending that to me on Twitter. I love it when you guys send me these news reports. And you know what, speaking of that, I had actually a couple of individuals send me the new couple of clock faces here with your smart display. So you can actually go ahead and use a couple of new clock faces there as well. Oh, and I almost forgot, because it's been 18 months that Sonos and Google Assistant integration is finally here. Now, I also almost forgot, because I can't do it here in Canada. I can't do it in the UK, Germany, Canada, Australia, France, and the Netherlands until July, and other countries will follow after that for some strange reason here. But your Sonos One and Sonos Beam in the US would be able to be integrated, and you will find the Sonos capability for integration there in the application. It just won't work when you go to add them if you're not in the US right now. If you didn't already know, the Pixel 3s have the ability to be, squeezed kind of on the sides, and that will allow you to bring up the Google Assistant. Now, there's actually a new interface being tested alongside that, where the search bar at the bottom just kind of turns a light gray, and it says that the voice assistant is listening when you do that. And I think this is a natural extension of the control. We're also hearing reports where the Pixel in the future will get additional controls through that capacitive touch on the side, and maybe no buttons on a Pixel 4. One thing that Google talked about at Google I/O a ton was privacy, and so what they're doing is they're prioritizing that for you in the Google Assistant and soon to be the Google Home menus. Now, I don't have that quite yet at the top of the U section of my Google Assistant settings here, but what you will find is a data and privacy section showing up there very soon, if not already, for you. And you're going to be able to manage your activity and web activity controls here for your Google Assistant and more of your Google account, as well as manage some of those data privacy concerns that people have had. Now, this might be the most exciting update, actually, and if you think about the future, this can go in a lot of ways, so I'm just going to give you the bare bones of what it is right now. Google has been working on a more interactive experience with the smart displays, and they call it their interactive canvas. And it uses existing web technologies, or technologies that are years and years old, CSS, HTML, and JavaScript, to create what I'll say is a 3-dimension experience with the smart displays. Those 3 dimensions, well, you still have your voice that you can use to interact, and you can still see visuals on the screen, but you also have the ability to use touch to press buttons and to interact with the screen. Now, in the future, I see this as highly impactful to the way we use these devices. It gives a whole new platform actually for app development, and it combines Android and smart display platforms, because these same little applications can be deployed on Android devices. So you probably have multiplayer or multi-user capability there as well. But what this does very quickly is allows Google and developers to go and extend their existing Google Assistant actions with this 3rd dimension. So it's not just a visual and it's not just voice, but it can be touch based. Like I said earlier in the video, the Works with Nest program is ending, and if you're not all up to date on what's going on there, you should go watch the video down below right now. It will give you all the details you need so that come August 31st, you're not left in the dark or left in the cold without a Nest thermostat. So thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time.